Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. It is an honor to be here. I think I told Andy, the last time I actually preached in front of a church in this kind of a setting was when he was last in Joburg. He was the last person to ask me to preach, now the first person to ask me to preach in English, which is quite interesting. So I haven't really sat up in front of a crowd. I ran a small church in my house, so we had more of a discussion-based sermon. So I prepared messages, but it was kind of like, so here's some thoughts, what do you think, what do you think, what do you think? So I haven't spoken in this kind of a context for a while. I thought I'd introduce myself. You've heard a lot about me from what Andy told me. He said, you hear me before you see me. You hear me laugh a lot. I do love laughing, so please laugh with me if I tell bad jokes. Michelle told me that not everything that you find funny, the English people find funny. So I'm like, oh, help me, Jesus. But if I have to put my life statement, like if this is what I live for, is to finish well, because I really do want to finish well.
Amen.
I left high school, I did a year of my, that's kind of like where our relationship really started. Andy was running a Year of Your Life program in Cape Town, and I did a year of my life, and it's been a very long year. It just hasn't ended yet, and I don't think it ever will. And I really do believe that I want to finish well. I want to end better than I started.
Yeah.
So that's what, and then the second part of what I want to do is to pack heaven with worship. That's what I want to do. I want people to see how great God is.
Amen.
And I've just done a master's, which was an interesting journey. Never thought I would do a master's. I saw Andy do a master's. I thought, Lord Jesus, I do not want to do that. I saw him go through some stuff, and I saw the stress and the hours that you have to put into it. And I thought, I could never do that. Not a chance. And then we had a coffee one day, and he's like, you should do a master's. I'm like, no. And then it just worked out that I ended up doing this thing and graduated in, when was it, April? Yeah, it's just been just a couple of weeks ago in America, so I was very excited about that. And yeah, but I really do think it's a step towards something. And the Masters it was really good in terms of the learning, but the problem is now that every time I listen to stuff and I think through what I believed, I reevaluate what I believe now. So I'm like having these internal discussions with myself all the time, like what's going on? Is that real? Do you really believe that? Or is it because someone else told you that? Is that really true? And it's emotionally draining. People talking like, but I think that summarized, but see that will never change. Finish well, live a life that honors God, and pack heaven with worshipers. So that's roughly about me. My family, Andy, introduced us. This is us in the hills in North Wales. We went for a picnic. And we had some, and then someone in the family had an idea, let's go for a little walk in the mountains. And I have my Sunday best shoes on. They're not designed for mountain climbing. And what you don't know is that actually that mountain's very wet. There's just water running everywhere that you can't see, and you hear me splashing through the mountains and slipping and sliding, and we're all falling and came down with wet bums. But it was actually an incredible time as a family. So as much as I moaned and went through there as grumpy, it was actually great. Sometimes I need to be pushed sometimes to do stuff, like do a master's. Or where I'm taking over a church in Prestaton as of the 1st of June. I'm going to be starting the transition period to be the senior pastor of that church called the Live Church. Very excited about that.
Amen.
I came to England going, God, I don't know what you're here to do. I don't know. I know you've called us. I didn't have a thus saith the Lord as well as Andy. God spoke to Andy clearly about coming here, which I was like, yes. And then we were like, we feel this is God leading us. So we told God, if Nicole get a job, we'll come over. That's essentially was the timing for us to come over. December, nothing had happened. Mid-December, we went on holiday to Nicole's mom, and lovely holiday, Plettenberg Bay, the garden route, beautiful. Nicole gets a phone call, gets a job in Liverpool, and we're like, okay. That was mid-December. She resigned, end of January. She finished, 1st of February, she flew to England. I stayed for 6 weeks, wrapping up a lot of the stuff and allowing the kids to finish their term and living in an emptier house because selling all my stuff. Eventually, we're sitting in the lounge with just camp chairs, and that's it. And that was interesting. And then came over and had no clue as to what God was going to do. Met with there's a guy called Tim Rowland who oversees a group of churches. So there's 3 churches at the moment, or 4 churches in the group, called Festival Churches. Met with him, and he's like, he believes this is a God thing. We sat down, and he said, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know, what do you want me to do? So we had this discussion, said, please just look at the small groups across the church. I said, okay, I'll do that. And so I started that, and then he was like, I had a coffee. He said, come for a coffee. I'm like, okay. He says, we've been looking for someone to take over a life church. And I've been speaking to so many people, and we've been starting the process, but none of them was a yes in his spirit. And then him and his wife were discussing, and they said, maybe the answer is looking us in the face. Maybe you're the guy. And I was like, yeah, I think that's probably a good thing. And that's how the ball got rolling. And so 1st of June, we take over there. And that's going to be exciting. So looking forward to that. And then a little bit about myself. Anyone know where this picture's from? Cheaper by the dozen. I think this is cheaper. I don't know if it's 1 or 2, but I remember watching Cheaper by the Dozen 2. I was by myself. I don't think anyone was in the house. And I cried. I cry in most movies where there's families and children, and actually I cry a lot in most movies. I'm a crier. Just have to throw that out there. So if you see me crying, I just do that. God just does stuff in my heart. Here we go. And it's a thing, I don't know. I don't try. I mean, generally my life is happy, I'm always laughing. And it's not a sad cry typically. It's just like sometimes I just get overwhelmed by God and His compassion for people. I often feel what people go through. If I pray for people, I'll lay hands on them and I can sense the emotion. Because people can put on brave faces, but yet, God knows what's going on inside. And often when I pray for them, I can feel what people go through. It's the most surreal experience. So I'm praying for someone, I'm sobbing, next person I'm praying, and I'm laughing. I'm like, I feel a bit like, it's just weird. So if I start crying, I can read, it's just, accept it, enjoy it. If you feel like crying, you're welcome to cry. It's just a good thing. So you're on a series, and Andy and I chatted about, should I carry on in the series? He said, you have a choice. And I was like, okay. I mean, we used to preach in series as we were together. I was like, cool, I could just tag in and fit in. But I was like, God, do I do that? And then I just really felt that I needed to go on just sort of a detour for today. So if you're taking notes, sermon title is Songs in the Night. Okay? And a song in the night, it stems out of a difficult season. Now, we've come through so the last 18 months have been a real difficult season. Things were going incredibly well. God was doing incredible stuff. People's lives were being changed. I was able to go on mission trips and send people on mission trips, and it was so much fun. And I was like, God, does it get better than this? I can't wait for the next season of what this looks like. And then the next season came, and it meant going from being connected to a church of 17 and a half years to having very little connection to anybody in those churches. It meant being an executive pastor to not having a church, not being in a church, not being connected to church, not feeling like you're part of a church. And that was hard. I was like, going from being validated, people believing in you, people believing in the call of God in your life, to people going, actually, you know what, we don't think you're called. And going, now having to deal with that emotion of this is what I've given my life for. I mean, I was involved in church for 22 years. Serving God, serving the church, and then guys going, actually, we don't think that's what you're called to do. And going, is this true? And having to deal with the emotion of all that stuff, your life, from everything that you've held on to, going, this is amazing, to going, that's gone. And going, oh God, what is this? And I think the best way to describe where I'm at the moment is that was a big wound in my life. It was horrible. But there's a scar now. You know, the scars are worth it. That's one of my phrases. The scars are worth it. But the scar's still a little bit tender. I don't think I can speak too much about it, because I think there's still stuff that wells up a bit in me that I have to still deal with in process. But it came from a very difficult season. So I love this. John Ortberg, in his book Soul Keeping, writes this: if you ask people who don't believe in God why they don't believe, the number one reason will most likely be suffering, going through hard times. If you ask people who believe in God when they grew most spiritually, the number one answer will be suffering. So I'm like, God, why are you putting me through this? Because he wants me to grow. He wants me to, there's another thing I need to know about who God is. And C.S. Lewis, someone says to him, why do the righteous suffer? And he goes, why not? They're the only ones who can take it.
Wow.
Okay? And we're like, but God, it's so unfair. God's like, yeah, but it's for your good. There's a growing in this process of dealing through difficult times, difficult seasons. And it's not fun. I wish it was. I wish I grew when things were going well. I've asked, I said, God, can't you, like, when things are going incredible, can't I grow spiritually and grow? And you enjoy the seasons, and it's great. But the truth is, this is where God shapes us and molds us in the difficulty, in the suffering, in the hard times. So, in the natural, and I think, is that the most difficult time when we're going through the most difficult time in our lives, or those difficult times, even in a day, is the night time. If you're sick, the worst time is the night. Like during the day, your body's like, yeah, it's okay, and then it's night time. Like if you got the flu, the worst time to have flu is at night. Like you feel like death warmed up at night. Then you eventually have a good sleep. You wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. I can carry on the next day, and then it's just like, and then by the time night comes, it's game over. If you're going through a difficult season, night times are the hardest time to process that, because your mind starts to wander, and now you can't be distracted by the busyness of the day, and you get caught up in what's going on, and it's amazing where your mind takes you, sometimes to very bad, dark places, but it's the difficult times. Okay. So we're going to, the verse that is kind of like this whole message is based on is Job 35:10. And this is, I think it's Elihu, or one of Job's friends. Job's moaning and he's having issues with God and he's complaining. So it's near the end of the sort of the conversations with Job. And he throws out this phrase, yet they don't ask, where is God my creator, the one who gives songs in the night? So I think just the book of Job is, it falls into the genre of poetry, but actually it is about a true person. It's about a guy who lived, went through some really difficult times, and I mean, he got impatient with God, he moaned, but yet he remained faithful. And most people say, well, the main theme of Job is the story of or understanding why people must suffer. But actually, I think one of the things is to actually go, it was the devil saying to God, you know what, your people only love you because you give them stuff. Only if you bless people will they worship you. And God goes, no, have you seen my servant Job? Let me show you. Like, if I take away everything, he will still worship me. And I think that's one of the lessons we can learn out of the book of God. Even when everything is taken away from us, when the darkest part of our lives, we can still worship God. Not because of what we're going through, but because of who he is. So we all go through seasons where we feel like Job. I don't know what you is. Has anyone had a season where has anyone lived a life where everything's gone right and nothing's gone wrong? No. Wonderful. So we're in good company. We all have moments where things go wrong. And then we get to these, and we get songs in the night. Now, I don't like poetry that much. I struggle with poetry because often I just don't get what people are getting at. I need people to just tell me what it means. Don't throw these things in the air, and just tell me what it means. So when you talk about the nighttime, actually, if you look at the root word, it's actually talking about things that go wrong. Gloominess, suffering, and situations, and I think the best is situations where it seems like God is absent. So what's a night season in your life where you look and go, I don't think God's there. Now, in my situation, I was like, theologically and intellectually, I knew God was there, but it didn't feel like it. I remember sitting on the couch one day going, God, I don't actually know what's going on, because I've done all the stuff. I've been so faithful. I've lived my life. I've tried to do all the good stuff, and now look what's going on. It's not right. It's unfair for me. But I don't think you're here. But actually, God is there. But it feels like, and I think it's okay to acknowledge that there's seasons of our lives where it feels like God is absent. And the songs actually is using the word rejoicing and joy. And so so this is the Rogers Revised Version. It says, no one says, where is God my maker, who gives joy and rejoicing in gloom and adversity. That's, if we talk about songs in the night, this is what we're talking about. Where is God who gives joy and rejoicing in gloom and adversity? Because God does that. And that's what we're going to talk about. This is quite well referenced. There's a couple of places where God talks about songs in the night. I'm not going to read through the verses, but if you do a search in your Bible, there are songs in the night. And it's typically things are going bad, but God gives a song in the night. The song in the night is a thing about hope and encouragement. So, who is the author of the songs? The verse tells us very easy. God, my maker. God is the author of these songs. Okay? It's easy to sing a song. It's easy to go, yeah, everything's amazing when things are going well. But when things are not going well, it's very difficult. It's not natural to sing a song in the night. It's not natural to sing a song when things aren't going well. I don't know. Psalm 103, I think it says, bless the Lord, O my soul, with all that is in it, bless his holy name. He has done great things, hallelujah. That's a day song. Because it's like, God's doing good stuff. Habakkuk is like, though the fig tree doesn't blossom, there be no fruit on the vine, the produce of the olive fields yield no fruit, the crop be cut off, wada, yet will I rejoice in the Lord. Okay, that's a song in the night. If everything's going wrong, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. Because it's not about my situation, it's about my God. Why God though? Because in the night, God is our only song. Like, we can't sing about it, we can only sing about who God is. And he's the one who can give us the song. So God is the author of these songs because he's the one who gives us these songs. And he's the subject that we can sing about. Like, it's not great to sing about everything that's going wrong. I mean, how encouraging would be worship? Oh God, everything's terrible. Like my wife's just left me, my kids have died. Country and Western, yeah, very much country and Western music all over again. But actually, God's the one who puts these songs in our heart. And he's the only one we can be singing about. Now, and no matter how good I am, no matter how good Andy is, no matter how good any one of you are, I can't put a song in the night in your heart. No matter how hard I try, I can stand up here and encourage you, I can point you to Jesus, but you know what? Only God is the one who can do this. Now, there's a lady in South Africa, her name is Ophelia. She's in her late 80s. She's one of the heroes of my faith. Now, she came to our little church that was running my house, and she shared a story with us. For pretty much all her life, she's had a fear of the dark. When it gets nighttime, literally, she has this phobia. She had to sleep with the light on in her house because she was so scared of the dark. Stuff happened in her life, and darkness was an issue. She couldn't be in a room that was dark. And this was like a real issue in her life. And so this was like, this is a song, this is a night thing that's happened pretty much her whole life. And then she's reading the Bible one morning. And she reads the account in Genesis, and it says, and God created morning and evening, and it was good. And literally, overnight, that phrase, in morning and evening, and it was good. If God created morning, he created evening, he created night, it was good. And that thing had lived, so for the first time, I think in 85, 86 years of her life, she was able to sleep at night with no lights on. Because God put something in her that, it's good. The night is good. The night is good. And I'm like, how amazing is God? That over, someone who's lived 85, 86 years with a fear, cannot sleep, suddenly God put something in her going, no, this is good. When you have an encounter with God, there's a song and it changes everything. So what could the songs be about? What are some of the things that we can sing about? So we can sing about 3 categories. We can sing about the day that has passed. So things that have already happened. We can sing about where we are, and we can sing about the things to come. The day that is over. What are some of the things in your life that you can go, you know what? Thank you, God. Like, what are the personal moments? I mean, if I look back at my life, if I look back at the 41 years I've lived on earth, I can see the faithfulness of God. I mean, 4 years old, I can remember at 4 years old, sitting in the car with my mom and going, and she's sharing the gospel with me and going, you know what, I want to be with Jesus. Like, I can remember that day. Clearly. Don't remember much else at 4, but I can remember that day. Around about 12 years old, it was a season, probably about a month or 2 in church. Every Sunday, would respond to the altar call, and God just proved himself to be real. Every Sunday. I was just like, it was just a pip, but I can tell you, I can remember the days. I remember sitting on my bed going, God, what do I do? Do I do this year of my life that Andy's doing, or do I go to teaching? I wanted to do remedial teaching. That's what I wanted to do. And I remember God going, pick one, because I'll use you. It doesn't matter where you go. I'm like, oh, God, that doesn't help me. You know what I mean? What's God's will for my life? Pick one, I'll use you both ways. Oh, gosh. Oh, let's go for the adventure. I mean, I can always come back and study. And in that scene, I remember things weren't going well in the church. There was some stuff happening, and I remember someone who I never knew. He came and he was preaching. He didn't know me. He didn't even know that I was on staff. And he said, "You're too young to carry such a burden." The presence of God came. Cried for 3 hours, and God took a huge stress off me. I remember, then just like the running youth camps. I remember the one day we were running a camp, and people were like, "So, were you guys walking between us and touching us?" We're like, "No." There was no one walking between you. No, there was someone walked between us. We felt them walking through us and touching us. We're like, okay, so we'll trust it. Wow. Like, mission moments. I'm going on mission trips. And he said I should share some mission stories. When I look back at, I've been on a lot of mission trips. I actually lost count, haven't I? When you have to fill in for your passport application for visa stuff, where have you been? I'm like, oh gosh, I have to go find all my passports and go, A, B, C. Eventually there's not enough space to fill in all the places. But I can, some moments, I remember one trip, everyone had gone to go pray for the meeting. I was wrapping up a camp and I walked into the school hall where we were having the meeting. And the presence of God was tangible. I could not. And that trip was probably the most difficult trip we ever ran. We rolled a car, we had, I think, 3 or 4 blowouts on that trip. But that moment was like, God's doing something real here. People's lives were being changed. I remember encouraging a friend, because the lady came to, she was pregnant, she's like, I haven't felt my baby move for over a month. We're like, all right. So I grabbed one of the ladies and said, put your hand there, let's pray. So I said, you pray. And she prayed, and the person went, I'm like, okay, well, let's see what God does. The next day, she came back, you know what? The baby moved. And I'm like, we've seen ankles literally grow back in front of the team. And I'm like going, you know what? That stuff, is the stuff that encourages me. If I look back over my life, I'm going, you know what? I can just see God. You know what? That gives me hope. That help. That stuff. I can sing songs about that all day. Tell you what God has done, where He's just proved Himself to be real. Songs cheer you. We'll talk about that just now. But there's something about us looking back, going, when you're going through difficult times, going, you know what? You finish talking about this stuff, you're like, oh, God's actually still in control. So we mustn't forget what God has done. There's a couple. If you do a study on forgetting, here's a couple of verses. Deuteronomy 6:12. Take care lest you forget the Lord, the one who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. Don't forget what God has done. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is no other. I am God, there is no one like me. Remember God. I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember the wonders of old. You know what? This is important. We must, the day that is over, you know what? The promises God has made to you, the covenant He's made with you, other people's stories. Andy and Alison have been an incredible encouragement to us. They went through a difficult season. They went through a real hard, but you know what? Knowing that God had called them, knowing that they are this is where God wants them to be. And just watching their lives honor God through this season, I'm like going, you know what, they're encouraging other people's stories. There's lots of people who've gone through, like, I look at my life and I go, and I look at other people and I go, thank you, Jesus, for my life. I don't know about you, like, other people have gone through worse stuff than me. I was telling Andy, I said, there was a lady in our church called Granny Eve. And, like, you listen to her story. I mean, she's buried, I think, 2 of her kids. Her third is an alcoholic, and she's had to adopt her grandchild because they couldn't look after her, and like difficult stuff. Yet every time you speak to her, she is so full of God. She just oozes Jesus, and you leave there feeling more encouraged. So I sent her a text saying, you know what, you've been such an encouragement to me, because when I look at your life, you could easily go, nah, God's not in this. I've had to do all these difficult things. But yet, she loves Jesus because of who he is. So we can sing about the day that is over. We can sing about the night itself. Sometimes having to see what God is doing in the moment. And going, you know, despite all that, God is still here. God is real. You know what? God hasn't dealt with me according to how he should have dealt with me. You know what? If God deals with the way he should have dealt with, we shall be dead.
Yes.
He hasn't rewarded us according to our sin, because that would be not a good clinic. I mean, I think my favorite example of someone who deals with stuff that's in the night is a guy called George Mueller. Anyone heard of George Mueller? Started a whole lot of orphanages in the UK, in Bristol. I mean, if you do, did a bit of Google. He cared for over 10,000 orphans, and you know what? He never fundraised. You know, he didn't believe in faith and hints. Genuine. Like, he never asked people, he never told people about how bad things or how good things were. He would trust God. I mean, I think in his book, one of the stories is no food in the orphanage. So they sit down together at the table, no food. And they say grace, and the doorbell rings, and God provides. Someone who just believed, despite what was going on, in that moment, he just knew that God was faithful. I mean, they say, like, in the 1800s, he received over £1.5 million. I mean, that's a lot of money. And he used it to care for orphans and to start a massive movement about it, because kids didn't have value. He's one of the people that started showing how valuable kids are. And then we sing about the day that is to come. So we can look back, we can look in the moment, and we can look forward to what is about to come. I love this verse, Acts 20 verse 1. After the uproar ceased, Paul sent for the disciples, and after encouraging them, he said farewell, and he departed for Macedonia. Acts 19, Paul's in Ephesus, and he causes a little bit of uproar in the city because there's a guy called Demetrius who's making idols and he's selling them. Paul is telling people about Jesus and they're not buying idols anymore. He's getting a bit upset, and he causes an uproar in the city. They're going, great is Artemis. Like, there's just chaos. They pull Paul and the guys with him. They go, what's going on? And they want to flog him and beat him up. And then it says, after the uproar ceased, he went in. You know what? The truth is, the uproar will cease. You know, when you're going through difficult times, it will stop. The life happens. There's ups and downs. Or I think a better description, there's a railway track. There's the good that's happening, and the difficult stuff that's happening. And God, because very often there's, like, you're going, if you look at your life, yeah, there are good things. God, I'm alive. I woke up this morning. That's a good thing. God's got a plan for me today. I woke up. But there's other stuff that's difficult. And I've got to deal with this stuff. And there's, the kingdom of God. It's here and not yet. It's now and but not yet. Living in this tent stop, we can trust God for healing. But also, sometimes he doesn't. And why? I don't know. Because God is God. And he knows best. But you know what? We live in this thing that one day, there will be no more tears. There'll be no more sickness. There'll be no more sorrow. We will be able to see God for who he is. We'll have a better understanding of the little glimpse of time we spent here on earth. And we'll be able to go, wow, God is amazing. Oh, look what God had done. Oh, look what God was doing. Look what God was working out. Because the reality, if I hadn't gone through what I would call like the dark night of my soul, the dark season, the difficult time, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't. I would be sitting there, keep doing what I was doing. But God wanted to do something different. So why are the songs valuable? They give us confidence. It's a song of confidence. You know what? We know that God exists. We know God is real. It shows that we have a real faith in God. We can be like Job. Though he slay me, I will still hope in him. You know, even if the worst happens, what's the worst can happen? You can die. You can stop breathing on earth. That's the worst. You go to sleep here, you wake up in eternity. You see Jesus. Like, how bad is that? If you have any funerals, listen to Andy's funeral message. I won't preach his funeral. But you know what? It gives us confidence into who God is. It's a song that lasts. You know what? The songs that you sing here, you'll probably be able to sing in eternity. You're going to be able to worship God. The songs that that God puts in your heart now, you'll be able to sing to Him for eternity. Isn't that encouraging? They give us courage. They allow us to endure the difficult times. A song that just allows us to go through those things. It's a song of endurance. It helps you endure and worship despite your circumstances. I mean, your praise doesn't depend on your circumstance. I mean, you look at Paul and Silas in a jail, and they're not just like in the top part, like in the worst part of the jail. It's like where people would poo on and stuff. It was terrible. It's like disgusting. You don't want to be in that part of the jail. Yet, at midnight, there they are singing hymns and worshipping God. And then God does an incredible thing. Jail opens. And you know what? It wasn't because it was so the jailer could come to faith, come to know how great God is.
Yes.
They didn't run away. They could have. Sometimes they did. I mean, Paul had to get kicked by an angel to get him out of jail sometimes. But it doesn't matter what it helps you endure despite it. Because like, if we just went on what our circumstances are, like we wouldn't be following Jesus right now. A guy called Mark Batterson says, nothing is more difficult than praising God when everything seems to be going wrong. But one of the purest forms of worship is praising God even when you don't feel like it, because it shows God that your worship isn't based on circumstances. Your worship is based on the character of God. That's why we want to worship God. That's why there's a song that God puts us, because it's actually not about what's going on. It's about who He is. I mean, I want to be here. I want to worship You. Which allows you don't have to sing a song on a Sunday morning to be able to worship God all the time. You can be worshiping God all day, not because of what's going on, but because of who He is. Every time you think about God, you're like, oh, that's amazing. I mean, driving through we're talking driving to church this morning, going, you know what, did you ever get tired of this drive? You know what? Creation's a place that reminds you of how great God is.
Yes.
All the time. I mean, I love driving to places because you get to see God's creation. I'm like, wow, God's amazing. God made cool stuff. And it's a song of hope. Songs in the night give us hope. And I've been listening to a book about how to battle cynicism. Because like when things go, some people have gone through difficult experiences, and you know what? They get hard. Their hearts get harder and harder and harder because they're going through more and more difficult situations. But a song in the night helps us battle that because it gives us hope. You know, despite the situation, God is still God. God is in control. God knows what He's doing. And it gives us hope. And a song in the night will actually help us deal with that. So, sort of to wrap this up, I was like, how do I encourage you? How do I encourage the church? And I went online and it says, our vision and mission is to help connect people to people to God, and people to His mission. So I thought I'd kind of like bring it together, going, well, how do songs in the night connect people to God, and people to the mission? So your song, the song that God puts in you, is actually there to help others. It's going to help you, it's going to lift you up, but it's there to help others. And if I have to go through one of the things that kept me going through that difficult season was a guy called Keith Green. You know Keith Green? Incredible songwriter. And he wrote a song called He'll Take Care of the Rest.
Yeah.
And I would sit in my car, put it on repeat, and for days. He'll take care of the rest. He'll take care of the rest. He'll take care of it. Think about Noah. Think about Moses. Think about all the difficult seasons people had to go through that were difficult. But no, God will take care of the rest. You just be faithful to what I've called you to do. Just be faithful in that moment. God will deal with the other stuff. And that's hard. We want to deal with the stuff. Like, we think we know more better than God. We want to go and fight those people and shout at them and do stuff that we shouldn't do. But God will take care of the rest.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that was like a literal song. That song just kept me going again and again, because it's so much true. God will take care of it. So don't hide what God's taking you through. Tell people about the difficult, but the hope in that. Because songs bring cheer. Something about the song that God puts in you will bring hope. First of all, it brings cheer to you. It's like, okay, I can trust God because He'll take care of the rest. I can rest in that. I can be happy. But also, it cheers others up. When you share your story with other people, it will encourage them. Right? So don't hide away from what God's put inside of you. How do our songs connect us to God? You know what? A song is a witness to others. I love that. I'm thinking about this. It witnesses to the reality of God. Your song in the night, the difficult season you're going through, when you're able to rise above that and go, I'm going to worship God despite this, is a witness to people who don't know Jesus. It actually agitates them. I love that word. It's like agitating, because it's like, how can you be smiling when you should be wanting revenge? Okay? God will take care of the rest. God's in control. And sometimes that little thing is the key for someone's next step to love Jesus. Someone's next step to move closer to Him. So how does it connect us to His mission? You know what? It points people to God. Your song, what God's doing in you, your song in the night is going to point people to the greatness of God. And my encouragement is that we want to point people to Jesus. Don't point them to yourself. The song's not about you. The song should be about how great God is. Not your situation, not your circumstance, the greatness of God. And that's how your song in the night will point people to His mission. And then the closing challenge is thought from Psalm 78 verse 9. It says, the men of Ephraim, though armed with bows, turned their back on the day of battle. God's given us the weapons and the tools to deal with it. He's given us the opportunity to embrace the song in the night. But He also gives us a choice to go, I'm out of here, cheers, bye. I don't want this. There were days I was going, God, you know what? I want to go and just serve coffee. Can I go be a barista somewhere, please? So, coffee makes people happy. I want to go make people happy. Can I just make people coffee? But I just knew that there was something more to the season of my life. And there were days when I just want to go, God, I want to turn my back. I know this, but I want to just go and go somewhere else because I can't deal with it. Don't turn your back when things go tough. Look to who God is. Say, God, give me a song in the night. Put something inside of me that I can hold on to. And it could be a literal song. It could be a text. It could be an encouragement from a friend. I remember one day sitting on the couch. I was writing an assignment, but I wasn't. I was just like, it was probably the lowest point. I wrote a blog that I felt like I hit the wall. I just can't go any further. And I got a friend phoned me. Said, I was just thinking about you. How are things going? Put my blessed face. Things are going well. But it's like, just know that we're praying for you. He said, goodbye. And I was like, that was the turning point. Like, in my lowest of my low, God was there. Someone was aware of what was going on. And that was the thing that lifted me up again. I was like, God, you're amazing. You know what? Even when I feel bad, I haven't told anyone I'm feeling bad. You know. You put a thing inside of me that will show how great you are. And that was that helped me to stay on. So we're going to move into a time of communion. And I thought, how do you respond? Because I do think there's a response needed to this message. I think we need to say, God, some people are going through great seasons. You know what? Embrace them. Thank Jesus for the good times. If you're going through a difficult time, it's difficult, but thank Jesus for the difficult, because God is preparing you. God is taking you for another season. God is building your character. And that, it's the hardest message. When things are going bad, worship Jesus. But the reality is we worship him not because of what we're going through, but because of who he is. Matthew 26:30 says, when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Jesus was, he knows at this moment in his life, in the next couple of hours, it's going to face death. And they sing a song. Now, everyone, what songs did they sing? Yeah, here we go. They think Jesus sang a song. Jesus had a song. Now, if you want to, most scholars, if you read and research, because everyone goes, what song did he sing? Because it doesn't tell us. It doesn't say Jesus sang, here's the lyrics of the song he sang. But most people, if you read it, it would be Psalm 113 to Psalm 118. Those were the psalms that they would sing during the Passover. So we're gonna read Psalm 118, and then I'm going to play a song, and we're going to respond to communion. You can respond how you need to respond. We're going to thank Jesus, because it says we need to do this to remember him. So you're going to remember. I want you to remember Jesus, but also going in this moment. If you need God to give you a song, ask God. And I do believe that during this time, God can put something inside of you that's going to give you courage, give you hope, help you to endure, give you a confidence. So, Psalm 118. I'm going to read it. So this is just before Jesus was going to go through the Garden of Gethsemane to pray, to go through that. We said, God, answer my prayer. Jesus prayed that. He said, if it's possible, take it. I don't want to do this. Jesus was fully God, but fully man. If it's possible, take it. I don't want to. He knew what it meant to go through what he was going to have to go through. But yet, and then he prays again. Okay, God, I know it's not possible. Do your will. But this is what he would have been singing just before he went to the cross. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever. Let all Israel repeat. His faithful love endures forever. Let Aaron's descendants, the priests, repeat. His faithful love endures forever. Let all who fear the Lord repeat. His faithful love endures forever. Imagine, okay, God, I know your faithful love endures forever. There's something for God to hold on to, for Jesus to go, this is true. In my distress I prayed to the Lord, and the Lord answered me and set me free. The Lord is for me, so I will have no fear. What can mere people do to me? Yes, the Lord is for me. He will help me. I will look in triumph at those who hate me. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in people. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in princes. Though hostile nations surrounded me, I destroyed them all with the authority of the Lord. Yes, they surrounded and attacked me, but I destroyed them all with the authority of the Lord. They swarmed around me like bees. They blazed against me like a crackling fire, but I destroyed them all with the authority of the Lord. My enemies did their best to kill me, but the Lord rescued me. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has given me victory. Songs of joy and victory are sung in the camp of the godly. The strong right arm of the Lord has done glorious things. The strong right arm of the Lord is raised in triumph. The strong right arm of the Lord has done glorious things. I will not die instead. I will live to tell what the Lord has done. The Lord has punished me severely, but he did not let me die. Open for me the gates where the righteous enter, and I will go in and thank the Lord. These gates lead to the presence of the Lord, and the godly enter there. I will thank you for answering our prayer and giving me victory. The stone that the builders rejected has now become the cornerstone. This is the Lord's doing. It is wonderful to see. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Please, Lord, please save us. Please, Lord, give us success. Bless the one who comes in the name of the Lord. We bless you from the house of the Lord. The Lord is good, shining upon us. Take the sacrifice and bind it with cords on the altar. You are my God, and I will praise you. You are my God, I will exalt you. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. And with that song, Jesus went to the cross. And The Jewish calendar goes, the Jewish day starts at night, just when the sun sets. That's when they start the day. This is the day that the Lord has made. Hey? I think Jesus was singing camp song. This is the day. But that one, like, God, this is the day. This is the day that the Lord has made. I'm going to rejoice. Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good. His love endures forever. That's what Jesus held to on the cross. This is what we can hold to. This is what communion can help us remember. The faithfulness of God. And those are kind of the songs that we need to trust God to put in us.